The girl in the hoodie, Lieutenant Carter, stood near the cargo bay, arms crossed, watching the maintenance crew clean up after the last ore shipment. Dust floated through the air like ash. The station lights flickered again. Delta 9 was old, rusted, and always breaking down, but something was different today. She moved like a shadow. An alien girl in a long, brown hoodie walked silently across the floor. She didn't speak, didn't look up, just kept scrubbing the floor near the reactor door with her strange three-fingered hands. Carter had seen her before every day. In fact, no one ever talked to her. Most thought she was just another worker from some backwater planet, barely paid, barely noticed. But Carter noticed something strange this time. The floor buffer was broken, yet the shine she left behind looked perfect. She had no tools, no tech, but she moved fast. Too fast. Carter narrowed his eyes. He leaned toward his comlink. Station AI, identify cleaning crew member in Section C9. A second passed. Then static, no record found. His brows furrowed. Run. A secondary scan, he said. No biosignature detected. That wasn't possible. She was standing right there, moving, breathing, working, and yet it was like she didn't exist. He stepped forward. Hey, you! She froze. Didn't look. Up, just stayed there, one knee on the floor, hand gripping the mop. He walked closer. You got a name? Still nothing. Then, behind them, a loud alarm echoed across the bay. Warning, reactor heat surge detected level 3 instability. Everyone shouted. Sirens blared. Crew scattered, but she didn't move. In fact, she stood slowly, calmly, and walked toward the overheating reactor. The others ran away from it, but not her. Hey, stop, Carter shouted. She ignored him. With one quick motion, she reached the control panel. Her fingers moved faster than any engineer's. The system flashed. Override accepted. Coolant. Flush in progress. The warning lights turned green. Carter froze. No one but command staff could override the reactor manually, not without authorization. Not without getting fried by security protocols. But she stood there, alive, untouched. The girl finally turned toward him. Her face was partly hidden under the hood, but her silver skin shimmered softly under the lights. Her eyes deep purple, glowing faintly, locked onto Carter's. And then she walked away. Later that night, Carter sat alone in the surveillance room. He watched the footage over and over. The cameras showed her entering restricted areas without clearance, fixing broken systems without tools, disappearing from view in blind spots the AI should have covered. He paused the video where she looked directly into the camera. She knew she was being watched. Who the hell are you? He muttered. He tapped into the security archives. Still, no name, no ID, nothing. It was like she was a ghost. A ghost in a HOODIE. Then, something stranger happened. Carter enhanced the footage. Zoomed in on her HOODIE. It wasn't normal fabric. It shimmered under certain lights, reflecting infrared scans, disrupting thermal imaging. That wasn't worker gear. That was military-grade stealth cloth. His heart beat faster. Someone gave her that. Or she made it herself, he whispered. The door behind him opened. Sergeant Vega walked in. Still watching the floor girl? She teased. She's not a floor girl, Carter replied. Vega laughed. Please. She's probably some refugee cleaning to pay for a transport off station. Relax. Carter shook his head. She fixed a reactor with her bare hands. No protection, no suit, just her fingers. And the I didn't even register her. Vega rolled her eyes. Maybe it glitched. It didn't glitch, he said firmly. She shouldn't exist. 2 days later, she disappeared. No one saw her in the halls. Not on shift. Not even in the food line. Carter checked every corridor, every vent shaft, every hidden nook. Then, in the old cargo hangar long abandoned, he found something. Behind a rusted panel, there was a small hidden room. It looked like a nest. Blankets, wires, alien tech spread across the floor, some glowing, some broken, some too advanced for even human eyes to understand. In the corner lay her hoodie. But this time, Carter saw the inside. Microcircuitry, thermal dampeners, energy shielding. This wasn't just clothing. It was armor. Asterisk, not just a worker. Lieutenant Carter sat alone in his quarters. The strange hoodie spread out across the table in front of him. He had scanned it 3 times. Each time, the system refused to recognize the material. It wasn't human, but it wasn't from any known alien race either. "Where are you hiding?" he whispered. Suddenly, a message popped up on his terminal. "Unauthorized access. AI core breach detected. Location Subdeck 4 engineering vault." His eyes widened. That section was off limits. Even officers needed double clearance to enter. He grabbed his sidearm and ran. Subdeck 4 was dark, quiet, too quiet. Only emergency lights flickered overhead. The air felt colder here, heavier. Carter walked slowly, scanning every corner. Then he heard it whispers, not from a person, but from machines. Static-laced pulses flowed through the walls like voices. Trapped in wires. He reached the vault door. It was wide open. Inside stood the alien girl. She was no longer wearing the hoodie. Her silver skin reflected the light like metal. Strange symbols glowed along her arms and neck, slowly fading in and out like breathing tattoos. She was speaking to the AI core, not with her mouth, but with her mind. Streams of data swirled around her, hovering in the air like floating code. The entire AI system pulsed with each word she thought. She turned slowly. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. Carter raised his sidearm. "Who are you?" She didn't flinch. "My name is Virela. That's not on any record." "I erased it." Carter blinked. "Why?" She looked at the AI core. "Because names bring hunters, and I'm tired of being hunted." Carter slowly lowered his weapon. "You're not a worker," he said. "No, I only wore that hoodie to hide. If they knew what I was, they would have killed me before I ever stepped on this station." Carter's voice was low. "What are you?" Virela stepped aside and pointed to a hidden panel behind the AI. She pressed her fingers into it, and the wall slid open. Behind it was a black cube, floating, humming. "What is that?" Carter asked. "The last memory core of the Zenari. Civilization." He froze. The Zenari were myths, wiped out by war centuries ago. A lost race, powerful, ancient, feared by all. "You're one of them?" he whispered. "I'm the last." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the station. "Warning. Unauthorized energy signal detected. Source, outer orbit." Carter's comlink buzzed. "Sir, we have incoming. Something's entering our system." "It's not responding to hails." Virela's eyes turned bright white. "They found me." "Who?" "The ones who ended my people. The null seeds. They're not machines. They're worse." Carter stared at her. "You brought them here?" "No," she said, stepping toward him. "I came to stop them." The lights above flickered. The station shook. A massive shadow blocked out the stars beyond the observation glass. It wasn't a ship. It was more like a city of sharp metal, spinning silently in space. Carter looked at her, stunned. "We're not ready to fight that." "I am," she whispered. She reached for the cube. As soon as she touched it, her tattoos lit up again, and pieces of her armor began forming from her skin like living metal. And that's when Carter understood. She hadn't been hiding because she was weak. She was hiding because she was dangerous. Asterisk. Her true name was classified for a long moment. Carter didn't say a word. He just stared at Virela now standing in full light, armor forming around her like liquid metal, eyes glowing like twin stars. Her silver skin shimmered with moving symbols, and the floating black cube above her pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. "You were working the floor," he said quietly. Mopping like a ghost, Virela gave a tired smile. "It was the only way I could stay invisible. I wore the dust like a mask, but it was never me." The station shook again, harder this time. Carter's comlink lit up. "Lieutenant, that ship outside, it's not communicating, and our defense grid isn't responding. We've lost control." Virela turned toward the ceiling as if she could hear every wire scream. "They're overriding your systems from orbit," she said. "That's what null seeds do. They infect, then erase." Carter's voice dropped. "Why are they after you?" Virela looked away. Her voice trembled. "Because I carry the last seed of resistance, the last code fragment of the Zenari Empire. They don't want survivors. They want silence." Carter stepped closer. "Why didn't you tell someone? The Council? Earth Command?" "I did," she whispered. "Years ago. And they tried to sell me." Carter's eyes widened. "What?" "I trusted them. They saw value in me. But not as a person. Only as a weapon. I escaped before they could dissect me." Carter looked at her, really looked. And suddenly, she didn't seem like a powerful alien anymore. She looked tired, alone, like someone who had been running forever. The lights dimmed again. A deep hum echoed through the floor like a voice, trying to push through metal.vir. Elay reached for the cube. "We don't have time. What are you doing?" "I'm activating the archive." She turned to Carter. "But I need a human's help." "Why me?" "Because your body doesn't carry Zenari code. The null seeds can't predict you. They can't read your mind." Carter hesitated. "This could kill me." "Yes," she said softly. "Or it could save your species." He stepped forward without another word. Virela guided his hand to the center of the cube. The moment he touched it, light exploded around them. Dozens of holograms rose into the air maps of galaxies, battle blueprints, alien alphabets shifting too fast to understand. And in the middle of it all, one name pulsed, red and ancient. Sin Virela, High Archivist, Warlord Class. Carter's eyes widened. "You were a soldier?" She nodded. "More than that. I designed weapons that could break suns." He stared at her, stunned. "Why mop floors?" "Because when you've seen stars scream," she said, "you don't want to be that person anymore." Suddenly static screamed from the intercom. A robotic voice spoke through it. "Zenari life form detected. Purge imminent." Outside the window, the massive structure above the station began to shift. Panels unfolded like petals. Energy began charging at the center. The null seed had locked on. Virela looked at Carter, her voice calm but firm. "We have one shot to stop it, but I need to activate something that hasn't been used in 1,000 years." "What is it?" Her eyes glowed brighter. "The stellar lance, buried under this station before your kind ever arrived." Carter took a deep breath. "Then we better dig fast." Asterisk, the dead language of War Carter, never believed in buried secrets. Believed in numbers, routines, and protocols. But now deep under Delta 9, walking through a corridor that wasn't on any blueprint, he followed a girl who shouldn't exist toward a weapon built before. Earth even had satellites. Virela walked. Ahead, her armor glowing dimly in the dark. Her movements were silent, precise, like someone who had walked this path before. The tunnel walls were old, not just rusted but fossilized, like they had been dead for centuries. Glowing glyphs moved along the metal like veins under skin, shifting. As Virela passed, Carter touched one of the symbols. It burned, Virela stopped. "Don't touch them," she said. "They're alive." They reached a circular chamber block and massive. In the center floated a long, thin structure sleek like a needle, humming like a beast dreaming in its sleep. Carter stepped closer. "That's the stellar lance?" Virela nodded. "The last of its kind. It didn't look like a weapon, Dot. No barrels, no ammo ports. Just light flowing through crystal lines along its body. It doesn't destroy matter," she said quietly. "It erases code. Null seeds run on corrupted logic. They infect planets with silence. This cuts through that silence. But why build it under a mining station?" "Because this place," she whispered, "used to be a Zenari fortress. Carter's. Mine spun. You knew it all along. I hoped I was wrong." He turned to her. "Why bring me here? Why not use it yourself?" She looked down at her glowing hands. "Because it needs 2 pilots. One Zenari and one human." He frowned. "How did they know humans would exist?" She stepped closer. "Because we designed the lance using future time strands. Your race was predicted, not created." His eyes widened. "You're telling me humanity was part of your war plan?" Virela didn't answer. Instead, she turned toward the control platform and raised her hand. The crystals began to spin. Energy wrapped around her like threads of light. The ground shook again. Suddenly voices filled the room. Dozens, maybe hundreds. They whispered in a language Carter didn't know, but somehow understood. "The archivist has returned. The war shall continue." The air turned heavy, cold. The lance glowed brighter. "I don't like this," Carter muttered. Virela's voice was sharp. "It's not supposed to feel safe. It was made for the end of things." From above, the structure of the null seed unfolded further beams of light slicing through orbit, charging their purge cannon. Virela turned to Carter. "Put your hand on the core. Now." Carter hesitated, heart racing. She stepped close, eyes locking with his. "I can't do this without you. And if we fail, every planet near this sector dies. Earth included." He nodded slowly, then placed his palm on the cold crystal dot. Everything went white. Suddenly, Carter stood in a void star circling, data flowing past his eyes, memories not. His own whispering in his mind. He saw battles between stars, giant machines screaming, worlds burning, the fall of the Zenari, and the planting of the stellar lances, one per region, hidden, waiting. Carter gasped, breathless, and then a choice appeared before him. Fire the lance? "Yes, I know." Back in the chamber, Carter's voice cracked. "What happens if I say yes?" Virela's answer was cold. "Then we both might die. But the galaxy gets one more day." He stared at the light, and he whispered, "Yes." The null seeds come, the stellar lance came alive. Waves of white-blue light pulsed outward from the chamber. The entire station Delta 9 shuddered as the ancient machine awakened beneath it. Lights flickered across every floor. Doors slammed shut. Security drones collapsed mid-air. Every system went dark for exactly 7 seconds. Then, they all turned red. Far above, in silent orbit, the null seed shifted. It was larger than anything Carter had ever seen. From a distance, it looked like a cathedral built by machine spires of jagged metal, a glowing black orb at its center. Thousands of insect-like drones crawled across its surface. And now, it moved. One of its massive panels unfolded like a wing. From within, a long cannon extended, pointed directly at Delta-9. Back inside the control chamber, Virela gripped the core with both hands. Her voice trembled. "They're scanning us. The lance must finish charging before they fire." Carter's hand was still on the crystal. He could feel it now, not just in his skin, but inside his head. The lance wasn't just a weapon. It was thinking. It was old, damaged, and in pain. But it was trying, and it was asking for more. "What's wrong?" he said. Varela's voice grew tense. "It needs one more thing to activate something alive. Something to sacrifice." Carter's heart sank. "You mean one of us?" Before she could answer, the station was hit. A shockwave threw them both to the floor. Walls cracked. Sirens screamed. From above, null seed drones began pouring down. Like black rain slamming into the station's outer hull, crawling inside, cutting through metal and systems. Varela stood fast, energy shielding flaring around her. "They're not here to fight," she said. "They're here to erase." One of the drones crawled through the control door. It hissed. 6 legs, no face. A glowing mouth like a blade. Carter pulled his sidearm and fired. 1 shot. 2. The thing dropped in sparks. "More are coming," he said. "How much time does the Lance need?" 3 minutes. They had 3 minutes to live. Carter sealed the chamber door. They stood in silence for a moment, surrounded by flashing lights and machine hums. Then Carter spoke. "Let me do it. Whatever the Lance needs. Use me." Varela shook her head. "You can't. You're not coded for it. You'll die, and it still won't activate." "Then who?" She looked at him and smiled. "I'm not from the past," she said. "I am the key. My blood is the last signature." Carter stepped back. "You'll die," she nodded. "I always knew I wouldn't leave this station." Suddenly, the Lance pulsed again, brighter, louder. Voices began to chant in the old Zanari tongue. Not spoken echoed. "The time of ending has returned. The flame of silence must fall." Varela looked into Carter's eyes one last time. "I was never meant to survive this war," she said. "I was only meant to finish it." She placed her hand on the central crystal. Her body lit up, veins glowing like molten gold. Carter grabbed her wrist. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," she said gently. "But thank you for seeing me not as a worker, but as someone who mattered." She stepped into the core. The Lance exploded with light. Outside, the null seed froze in midair. The charging cannon cracked. The floating drones went limp. And then a beam of pure white erupted from under the station dot. It sliced straight through the seed, cutting it clean in half. No explosion. No fire. Just silence. Then, slowly, the massive machine collapsed into space like snow. Delta-9 shook. And then went still. In the chamber, the light faded. Carter opened his eyes. He was alone. She was never just a worker. The stellar Lance had gone quiet. Carter stood in the center of the ancient chamber, his boots echoing against the cold floor. The crystal core where Varela had stood now glowed dimly, like the final heartbeat of a dying star. She was gone, but she had saved them all. Above, in orbit, what remained of the null seed drifted in silence. Its broken parts floated like shattered glass. No drones. No threat. The galaxy was safe for now. Emergency lights flickered as Delta-9 powered back up. The AI systems came online slowly, like a waking body after deep sleep. But Carter didn't move. He sat beside the still warm core, helmet in his lap, head down. Hours passed. Search teams found him there. "Lieutenant?" Someone called softly. He looked up, eyes red, voice quiet. "Send a report to command. Tell them the null seed was neutralized." The officer paused. "And the alien worker?" Carter stood slowly, looked around at the glowing chamber, at the ancient machine humming like a ghost. "She wasn't a worker," he said. "She was the last of her kind." 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council released a statement. Delta-9 was now classified as a historical war relic. The null seed was declared a lost weapon of the ancient age. And Varela? No name was mentioned. Not even a footnote. The truth was buried again. But Carter remembered Dot and a small ceremony on Earth. Carter placed something into the ground beneath an old tree in a peaceful park. Dot, it was her hoodie. Torn, stained, burned around the edges, but still intact. He didn't speak much, just stood there in silence. A little girl walked by with her father and asked, "Daddy, what's that?" The man looked. "Looks like old clothing. Maybe from a cleaner?" Carter turned, just slightly, and whispered, "No, she cleaned the galaxy of darkness."